Let's just say the ratings aren't the same with Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever now eliminated. Game 1 of the Aces Liberty matchup on Sunday drew an average of 929. However, that was down nearly 50% from last Sunday's Fever Sun contest. By the way, not only was viewership down, but attendance was as well.
Is it really true? Well, it was only a few weeks ago that fans had to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars to witness Caitlyn Clark play. WNBA playoff tickets are now more affordable than a movie ticket. For $10, you can secure a spot. What became to the tickets? Currently, we're asking about $100 for any other major sporting event, such as Major League Baseball, the NFL, or the NBA. The NHL may offer $100 tickets, which are generally seen as a terrible deal. There are no tickets priced at $100. The most costly seats to see Caitlyn Clark, who played Angel Reese during the regular season, sold for over $4,000. The average ticket costs $300. Usually, you may see Angel Reese for free at the Chicago Bravado. Consider purchasing popcorn for a higher price than your WNBA playoff ticket. That is currently our reality. It seems like the league vanished from prominence overnight. Recall those courtside seats that cost $4,000 during Clark's playoff debut? They are currently being sold for $100. That's not a typo. Tickets get more and more expensive as the team advances in the playoffs. For this reason, I was really perplexed to see tickets at the Target Center in Minnesota. Offering for only $10, you would have enough money for snacks if you bought an entire row. StubHub claims those seats are damn near courtside. Their asking price is $65. For $60, you can take a seat just behind the female Suns bench. I saw that there was no access to the Target Center's top bowls. I wonder why they can't sell the dang seats in the lower bowl. Therefore, they're not selling tickets in those sections. The venues are like ghost towns, which makes the situation worse. Consider the Minnesota Lynx vs. Connecticut Sun game, which was played in a venue with 20,000 seats that was only about 9,000 full. It's like witnessing an entirely sold-out show change into an open mic night with roughly 60% of the chairs empty. All I know is that the attendance was low when they were eliminated from the playoffs. Yes, the ratings are falling presently. I don't require knowledge because they say things like, oh, it's the old guard, it's this and that. So why are they saying things like that now? What is the WNBA doing about this disastrous ticketing situation, you ask? That's where their response becomes very intriguing, though. You wouldn't expect this. Actually, it's causing everyone to remark. Let's first examine how we got here, though, before we go into that. I'm sure you're wondering how the WNBA got into this situation. It ultimately boils down to something known as the Caitlyn Clark effect. What is it precisely, and why did it make the league so exposed? They're attempting to provide you with every other explanation, so now tell me why she vanished. Is the aging century still on duty? One of these fans, if it's more, understands that the WNBA is more. Why is Caitlyn Clark being watched by so many people when she isn't just any player? When she went onto the court, the WNBA was completely taken over by this basketball sensation. Fans weren't just purchasing tickets for the game, it was an experience. They were seizing the opportunity to see history being written. Well, I only paid attention to two fundamental metrics: attendance and ticket price. And you're already at an unbelievable amount if you only consider those two factors and exclude even the sales of items, the money spent on dining establishments, concessions, and lodging. Clark did more than just play hoops. Her performances had fans grabbing for their wallets quicker than you could say three-pointer. Her popularity has even helped the local economy, drawing large numbers to stadiums and igniting a flurry of activity among nearby businesses. Should you glance ahead at Caitlyn, since Caitlyn, about 5,000 people have attended. This year, she sold out of every game, which is an increase of almost 10,000 tickets per game. The cost of a ticket has increased on average by almost $100. That means that each game might potentially fetch $1 million. Could you please serve that to me 14 home games at a time? That amounts to $14 million, and that doesn't even take other factors into account. But Clark's influence extended well beyond the seats he filled. The WNBA has always had amazing talent, but Clark added something extra, a spark that piqued the eye of both casual spectators and ardent supporters, and she ended up becoming a symbol of optimism for a league that has been struggling for recognition in a congested sports scene. However, there's this Caitlyn Clark who lights up the college basketball scene. Then want to use her skills in the WNBA. She only wants to play basketball in order to draw attention to all of the teams and serve as an example for young women, telling them that they can do everything they set their minds to if they work hard enough. Let's collaborate to advance the game. That's all she wants to do. When was the last time you witnessed thousands of dollars being spent on WNBA tickets? Was that something Clark made happen? She did more than just improve her group. Abruptly, she raised the whole league. Sports bars were humming with conversation about women's basketball and the WNBA. Social media was overrun with Clark's best moments. The league appeared to have discovered its own unique supernova. But considering that Caitlyn Clark's first playoff game drew 1.8 million viewers, the numbers speak for themselves. Absurd figures the most watched playoff match since the 2000 WNBA Finals second game, and that wasn't even the first round match from 2000. One of the finals games was this one. This obviously demonstrates the influence Caitlyn Clark is having, as 22 WNBA games have attracted viewership of over 1 million, surpassing the previous record of 15 games set in 1998. And this is where things get very interesting. Clark's fame benefited more than simply ticket sales. It served as a lifeline for a league that was having difficulty making a name for itself in the sports world. The WNBA has long had difficulties, including lesser pay than the NBA and issues with television viewership, sales of tickets and attendance, but with Clark on the court, it appeared as though the issues were receding. She actually raised ticket sales by 93%. Please be patient. The WNBA has expanded by 40% before the 2023 season. Without Caitlyn Clark, the league would not have reached its current level of success until 2029 or 2030. In 2023, ticket sales increased by 16% from 2022 and by 93% in 2024. Audience from 2022 to 2023, although for a brief, once Caitlyn Clark arrived, it increased by 400%. The WNBA appeared to have hit gold. They had a superstar who could captivate audiences, start dialogues, and perhaps even alter people's perceptions of the game. It was not simply marketing speak. There was hope that the league would eventually succeed and take the sports world by storm. What does Caitlyn Clark's absence from the WNBA playoffs signify, though? Is the aging century still on duty? Why do these supporters think that the WNBA is more important than it is? I understand. For what reason are they? Why is no one observing? You mentioned how the ratings have decreased with the removal of a fever. Indeed, observe the attendance both during the Fever's games against your preferred team and during their absences. The problem with depending only on one star, though, is this. When the light isn't shining, what happens? That is precisely the issue that the WNBA is currently facing. There was more to Clark's playoff exit than just cheaper tickets. It revealed a basic flaw in the league plan. Since things grew worse before becoming better, ESPN featured the Linkers and the Female Suns on Sunday night. Remember that the Female Suns' average viewership when they faced Caitlyn Clark was around 2 million. These same daughters assert that there are other attractive players in the WNBA than Caitlyn Clark. 654,000 viewers watched the game on Sunday night against the Minnesota Linkers after Caitlyn Clark was eliminated from the playoffs. The WNBA's ratings are 50% lower now. As you can see, the Caitlyn Clark effect wasn't caused by a single player with exceptional basketball skills. The WNBA was accused of putting all of its eggs in one basket. They followed Clark's lead, and when she withdrew from the playoffs, they found themselves in a bind. Let's compare those figures, 1.84, 2.54 million, to the first playoff weekend played without Caitlyn Clark. The figures were far from what they had been when Caitlyn Clark was involved. The league is now dealing with some challenging issues. When your biggest attraction isn't there, how can you create enduring interest? Can the WNBA establish a structure where a number of players captivate the interest of the general public, or are they destined to experience the highs and lows of every new sensation on this roller coaster? But it's not all about Clark. Her quick ascent and the decline in attention that followed point to a more serious problem. With or without a superstar of the moment, the WNBA needs to figure out how to draw in and hold on to its fan base. They must produce a product that is intriguing enough to stand alone and captivate the audience, whichever player is on the court. New products are being released. For example, our colleagues at ESPN just introduced Fantasy WNBA basketball this year, and I have to admit, there's a lot of talk about it. Since money is where the true drama is being played out, let's talk about it. The WNBA's pocketbook appears to be as thin as a rookie's guidebook. Athletes are pursuing international prospects similar to their all-star berths. Why? Just because the salary is higher when you're attempting to support yourself by playing the game you love, can you really blame them? It is imperative that you follow the money, as many clubs' WNBA seasons are coming to a conclusion. In addition to the poor income, a lot of players are already leaving the WNBA to play in other countries over the offseason. However, some of these players are unsure if they would ever return. The broadcast game of the WNBA is suffering greatly. ESPN will now broadcast playoff games on ESPN2. It feels like you've been demoted to nosebleed seats from the VIP area. This downgrading indicates that the major networks don't think the WNBA can attract large audiences, which is more than just a blow to the ego. I was pleased to see this video because I'm relieved that it's now. I'm glad Allison came forward and told us what was going on behind the scenes because, as we've discussed in many other videos, Caitlyn Clark seemed to be the answer to so many problems this season. However, public knowledge like Caitlyn never talked about this throughout the entire season. You may be asking how we arrived here at this point. A perfect storm of lofty goals and unforgiving reality exists. As elite athletes who perform night after night, players are legitimately asking more, but the league is having difficulty supporting them. Comparable to attempting to purchase a Ferrari on a used vehicle budget, you may be asking what the WNBA could do right now to turn things around. It goes beyond simply identifying the next Caitlyn Clark. Building a league with talents that keep you on the edge of your seat is the goal. Imagine watching with no idea as to which player will put on a show to remember. The WNBA needs to incite excitement like that. It was all Caitlyn's fault. She's receiving support because she's different. Steph Curry seems special. Tiger Woods is special. Just because I spent 10 years playing in the NBA, PGA Tour, or WNBA doesn't mean that everyone understands. That isn't how it operates. Supply and demand are at play. But are they interested in purchasing your shoes? Would they like to play hoops with you? Would they like to use a Wilson for play? That's really the main point to remember here. The NBA is about more than just LeBron James. Stars like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and others are highlighted. There's a long list of well-known figures. What the WNBA requires is that they ought to be fostering rivalries, creating gripping narratives, and making each game an event that fans won't want to miss. We had the opportunity to question them both beforehand about the competition, and they both had quite varying perspectives on art. No, it's not different at all. They both believe that it's fantastic for the sport, she added, adding that they haven't made it personal. Yes, but they also realize that when they're going to play, people notice. The WNBA's future depends on more than just bringing in new players. It involves developing narratives that captivate readers and entice them to return. Consider how viewers of their favorite shows often binge watch them. The WNBA needs to do that, making each game feel like the next exciting installment of a series that fans won't want to miss. You should attend more basketball games, that's what. All right, to appear on television. Launch a WNBA reality series, perhaps women adore reality television. All right, so that's one of the two factors currently supporting cable television. If you could somehow combine athletics with reality TV and let us get to know you a little better, I'm sure a lot of ladies would be like, holy shit, and support you. All right, so now that would be fantastic. Now let's discuss rivals. Recall the NBA's Magic versus Bird days. When two amazing players square up, the WNBA needs to generate that type of enthusiasm. It goes beyond the game. That's how you keep fans interested in an event even when the main player isn't playing. In the history of the WNBA, there has never been a player quite like Caitlyn Clark, I refer to. There was a player for Las Vegas who was the all-time top scorer in collegiate basketball history, but no one ever mentioned her. Nobody mentioned how amazing Kelsey was as a player. No one discussed her. Simply put, Caitlyn Clark is unique. To put it simply, the WNBA is currently treading carefully as players are demanding what they are due and the league is trying to maintain operations. It's like seeing two sides of the same coin fight each other, but hold up, not yet, but not soon. The WNBA has a secret weapon that has been right in front of them the entire time. Recall it, Caitlyn?